Should Rodgers be suspended?
Listen, is what he did misleading? What he said misleading? The way he acted, is it what you would want out of a franchise quarterback and a role model to a lot of young people? Absolutely not. Should he be suspended? Well, I don't think so at all, because if he is, where do you draw the line? So do you draw the line if you're misleading? Well, then guess what? Most coaches are going to get suspended. Do you draw the line in lying? Most people are going to be suspended. You can't do it just based on something that you're passionate about or that's a hot topic or something that's important now. If you suspend someone for lying, you suspend everybody for lying. We can't pick and choose what it is. And so I don't think that you could say, hey, we're suspending Aaron Rodgers because he lied. Do you know how many people, when they step in front of the cameras, lie? Right? So now we're just going to pick and choose which ones we care more about that we can suspend. Obviously, it's not right. Obviously, I'm not trying to condone that. But if you say lying is where you get suspended, then guess what? There's going to be a lot of people that are going to get suspended.
Stephen A., that's a great point. What do you think?
Tim Tebow, I respectfully disagree. And everybody knows how I feel about Aaron Rodgers, how fond I am of him. I'm a huge, huge fan, maybe the biggest fan of Aaron Rodgers, but I was incredibly disappointed about this. And I don't get caught up in the vax or unvaccinated. I don't get caught up in all of that when I'm talking about Kyrie Irving. I'm just talking about him and not being available to teammates he lured to Brooklyn. That's what I'm talking about. In the case of Aaron Rodgers, here's what I would say to you. Did he lie? Some people could say no. He was deliberately deceitful because he knew by using the word immunized that the media would assume that he meant, yes, he was vaccinated. Well, guess what? They did. Because here's the reality. When you expose yourself to other players, like we've seen them talking to Kyler Murray and other players who may not have been on your team and may have thought you were vaccinated when, in fact, you were not, you've now, according to the science, officially endangered somebody else. And that's the point that we're trying to make here. We're not talking about lying. We're not talking because we know people lie all the time. We know coaches lie, players lie, executives lie. We're not talking about that. We're talking about context in terms of what you lied about. You lying about something might be your personal business. You don't feel it's somebody else's business. You don't feel they have a right to know. But when that level of information is something you deny the opportunity for somebody else to know, and then you put them in a position, according to the science, that has endangered them potentially, now that becomes a bit more serious because there's a level of responsibility that you haven't touched on. If you're that guy, Aaron Rodgers, and you've elected to give people the impression that you were vaccinated when, in fact, you were not. And I think that's got to be taken into consideration. We've got a situation, Tim, I'm not trying to bring this up because, my God, I just pray for the families of everybody involved and pray for Ruggs as well with the horrific accident that he got in. I'm quite sure he didn't mean to kill somebody, man. But the bottom line is this. You on the road, and you going 156 miles an hour or something like that, well, my God, that's going to be taken into consideration as opposed to somebody who wasn't inebriated and wasn't going at that speed and then got into an accident that harmed somebody. Context matters.
It does.
When you do that, I can't even tell you if Aaron Rodgers wasn't playing football and he wasn't around people, that would be different. But to know what the situation was, to know what the safety protocols were, and to know that you were in violation of it, and you did it anyway, deceitfully. I think that warrants a suspension. And, by the way, some volunteer work at one of these hospitals with a bunch of COVID patients. I really do.
No, but that's a very different argument than saying, hey, we need to suspend him for lying. That's suspending him for breaking the rules. And I honestly don't know what rule. I honestly don't know exactly what rules he broke. But honestly, in my opinion, if the NFL's evaluating it, then they shouldn't have let it get to week 7, 8. If he's breaking the rules, why didn't you hear something about it week 1, week 2, week 3? To me, yes, it's a little bit on Aaron, but it's also on the NFL. If you're going to set rules, then make everyone abide by those rules. And then if whatever he's breaking, then, and I don't know exactly what rules of who you're allowed to talk to, when you're allowed to, because there's 462 rules on this. And so I don't know exactly what the rules, but then that's got to be where you could suspend someone.
Tim,
is
you got
for
me.
Knowing and then breaking those rules.
You got me, Tim, because here's the point that you made that I just picked up on. I take back everything that I say. If the NFL, because you make a very valid point, if the NFL knew that he was not vaccinated, right? And you still watched him on the field without his mask on, you still watched him going up to players and all of that stuff, and you didn't feel he was in violation of anything, that's a good point. I'm making the assumption based on what they're saying about him not being honest and forthcoming about being vaccinated, that they were fooled too. But if they knew that he wasn't in violation, and if he's not in violation, then everything that I said does not matter. That's absolutely correct.
I think the NFL would have to know, because you have to listen. I wasn't there for long, but I was at least there with the Jags for a little bit, where at least you had to tell them, you had to show your doctor's report, you had to show all of the different things. So I think the NFL and your team would know. Like, I would be blown away.
Absolutely knew. And each club handles it individually. But here's the thing. If we're going to put this all on Aaron Rodgers, who say Aaron Rodgers to this point is going to be suspended, well, then the Browns organization needs to be in trouble. There needs to be some culpability for them, because they were aware the entire time.
You mean the Packers?
I'm sorry. Yes. I'm sorry. I'm going back to the Odell Beckham.
Okay.
I apologize. We got a lot happening here. Okay, back to what I was saying, though. Stephen A., for Aaron Rodgers, if he's going to be suspended, shouldn't there be punishment for the Packers organization as well? They were aware.
Well, absolutely, which is why I don't like the smugness of Coach Matt LaFleur. See, Matt LaFleur is basically looking at the media as an irritant. He's not looking at them and saying, wait a minute, I got a quarterback here that seemed deliberately deceitful. And, oh, by the way, I may have been complicit in it as a part of this organization. Who's the head coach? He's looking, it's just typical. It's everybody else's fault. The fact of the matter is, this is not listen, let me state this very clearly, Tim. This is not a private matter. Your medical history, your medical records, that's a private matter. The coronavirus pandemic is not a private matter. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.